Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us from. My name is Ann Lemons. Have you wondered how we could support our bone health using traditional Chinese medicine? And what herbs might be beneficial for supporting our bones as well? So today I will be joined by Stephanie Fairbanks from Holistic by Steph, and we'll be talking about traditional Chinese medicine and how it supports our bones. So I'm just waiting for her to join us, and let me just see where she is. All right. Hello, everyone. Hey, Tali. Wonderful. It's exciting. I'm just waiting for her to request to join. This is going to be good. I know a little bit about traditional Chinese medicine, but I have not studied it. And I know they take a very holistic approach when it comes to bone health. So I'm very excited to share that with you. Let's see where she could be. Just waiting. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. While we're waiting, let me give you a little bit of background on Stephanie. Stephanie Fairbanks is a holistic health coach. Oh, there she is. Yay. Fantastic. Hello, hello. I was just introducing you and telling our audience a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today, as well as a little bit about your background, and then we'll get right into it. So I'm really excited about this conversation. So Stephanie Fairbanks is a holistic health coach. She's based in the UK, so across the pond. She's trained in traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurveda, which I love. She's the mother of 2 boys. Her passion for health began at a young age, but it wasn't until she faced her own health challenges and burnout that she finally took charge of her own healing and by extension became a certified health coach. I love this. This is why many of us are here in this space, because we've had our own challenges. So why don't we even start off with your story? If you want to share that a little bit with us too, that would be great.
Happy to, and thank you for having me today. I'm so excited to be speaking with you. So my story begins with having a mother who was very interested in healthy living and healthy food. So I always had a connection to looking at food from the angle of health. And that was always an interest and a passion. And I love feeding people and cooking. So that was the basis for where I've ended up. But I took a long route around to get to where I am today, because when I became a mother, as many of you may have experienced, you put your own needs and your own priorities, a lot of the discomfort that you might feel to the side. You ignore, and deal with it over time. You get a buildup and the body speaks louder and louder and louder. And so was it in my case. And I had many reasons, but basically it all originated in the gut. I went through a very, very big gut healing journey, and that's also now become my kind of main focus, as well as trying to help mothers with self-care in small ways, because small is of the essence when you have small children and you're taking care of a family, side job as well, or a big career. So I basically burned myself out my food. And so I went to a lot of different practitioners, and I found that traditional Chinese medicine really spoke to me. It made so much sense to me. It boils down to energy, and that's irrefutable. Everything is made of energy. So to me, it just made a lot of sense. And then when I felt that I couldn't get the help that I needed, I started looking into how I could research and help myself, and found a study that really fit what I was looking for. It was very much about traditional Chinese medicine, how to use food as medicine, and how to listen and understand your body signals.
Wonderful.
So, yeah.
I love that. I love that transformation and just the realization that you know, especially for young mothers, but even for mothers that are older with older children, they can tend to push their own needs aside. So I think that's a really important message here, is that we do need to, you know, put on the oxygen mask first, because this can create not only better health for us, but it does create this upward spiral for everyone else in our family. And something else you said was really important, that small steps are important. Small steps add up to a lot. And that's really, you know, what we want to talk about today too, is what are some small steps that we can take to support our bone health from a traditional Chinese medicine lens. So why don't we talk a little bit about that? Tell us a little bit about how you feel we could support our bone health according to traditional Chinese medicine, or TCM. It's easier to abbreviate it, right?
Definitely. I'll be happy to answer that. I have to create a little bit of a story around this so that you can better understand.
Perfect.
Basically, something that's your inherent life battery energy, which is called your Jing. It's kind of the battery that powers through life. And as we're born, this is given to us by our mother and father. Part of your inherited kind of energy, life force, the root, let's say. And so it connects to your bone marrow, because that's something to do with reproduction and growth and development. So the strength of your bones is very much related to how is your Jing. And of course, your Jing energy, as we grow older, they say in traditional Chinese medicine, you exchange your Jing for wisdom. So you lose your battery, doesn't increase, but you can slow it down. You can slow it down with movement. You can slow it down with regularly taking time to rest, because our society is so much based on go, 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 do, and attaching value to productivity. But in fact, we are more productive. A break, step back. So that's a really, really important aspect to that. But also engaging in gentle exercise like qigong or pulse, like you do. These are really good because they strengthen the energy that we already have, and they're strengthening the organs around the bones. So that's really helpful. But also, if you look at the food you eat, the food that is also becomes part of your Jing and slowing down, using up of your Jing, because there are certain foods that relate to each organ in traditional Chinese medicine and each element. And for Jing, related to your kidney and your bladder, you want to be looking for dark foods, blue, black, purple. These are foods like black sesame or aubergine or purple cabbage, or also these seafoods. They're salty. The salt is very fortifying for your liver, thus your Jing and thus your bones. So we're not talking about like salty chicken. We're talking about foods that are naturally salty. So seaweed. Seaweed's a really good one because it's full of minerals. And it's not even something you have to eat just on its own. It's something you can sprinkle on a salad. You can put it on rice dishes. You can even put the sheets of seaweed in your water that you boil your food with, because that releases the minerals into the water, which will then go into your pasta or your potato or whatever else you're boiling. Other foods can be really helpful are foods that are very dense and have a kind of reproductive source. So fish roe, eggs in general, bee pollen, royal. These are very, very intensely dense nutritional foods, and they will really help to kind of fortify your kidney and Jing energy.
Wow, I was frantically writing all these things down. That was so much great information there. It's interesting you said blue, because blueberries, we know that is one of the key foods, or one of the key fruits to eat for better calcium and for our bones. And the seaweed, so it's interesting. So you can throw that sheet into, if you're making soup, exactly like you said, to get all of that mineral content. Do you have a particular seaweed that you prefer to put in, and how much do you like to put in?
Okay, so this is a really nice question. In local seaweed that you can source, go for that.
Can you say that again? I'm getting a little spotty connection here. So what did you say again?
If you can, get a hold of local seaweed.
Local seaweed. Okay.
Yeah. I know that that's starting to crop up more and more, that this is becoming more of a trend, that young, people, fishermen and stuff like that, they start to harvest seaweed as well. And seaweed comes in very many shapes and forms, and each type of seaweed has different benefits. You have 𝗕𝗿𝘁𝗄𝘗𝗃 seaweed, you have the traditional seaweed that we use for sushi, which is nori. You have, like the big sheets that you can use, the kelp seaweed.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
and they all really, really, they're tasty too, as like a snack,
That's wonderful. And then for bee pollen, I love that you mentioned that, because there's so many medicinal qualities to bee pollen. What about, is there a certain type that you like, and are you more inclined to use bee pollen versus just honey? Or tell us a little bit about the bee products in terms of bone health.
Yeah, so I would say, if you can, and this is also an alternative to bee pollen, bee bread. Bee bread is one step up because the fermented version of the bee pollen. So this is the enzyme and the bee pollen of the bee and the pollen together. So the bee has been chewing on the bee pollen, like literally with its own saliva, and then they put that into the beehive, and then it becomes like a little hexagon you get. So it's called bee bread. It's really, really, really good for you.
Where do we find that? Where do we find that bee bread?
You have to, again, it's kind of a local thing, and it's small scale. So you have to kind of investigate if you have perhaps a local bee farm, or ask them if they have it, and ask them if they can source it for you. The more local you go with honey, the better, because honey contains a lot of the pollen that we become allergic to when we have hay fever. So if you give yourself a little bit of local honey just before the hay fever season starts, you're kind of immunizing yourself against it. So that is a really good tip. And also, if you can, try to get unpasteurized honey.
I love that you're talking about this. I'm a big believer in using honey before allergy season as well. So for us, it's around now.
Yeah.
In this area before things start to bloom. Yeah, I would say local farmers, and maybe even to find like the bee bread. I'm very interested in that now. I have not ever tried that. Maybe some of the health food stores, the smaller stores, might have something like that. So very interesting. So great ideas around foods that are fortifying, that are dense, that are salty, that are blue. Yeah, so what else? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
One that I want to mention that I think is an easy one, especially for us in the Northern Hemisphere, is nettle. Nettle, so they are really, really good, especially if you can get the root. So normally people will use the leaves for tea, or they'll put it in food, or you can make pesto from it. It's really good on its own. But if you're looking at, in traditional Chinese medicine, when you look at food, you often see the comparison to what is it in the human body. So if we're looking at the top half of the plant, it's for one specific part of the body. But if you look at the root of a plant, you're really, again, getting to your root energy, and it's going to give you the root energy. So if you go for nettle root, then it's really going to help, again, your kidney energy and your Jing, and thus your bone.
So interesting, because dandelion is the same way,
Yeah.
right? Dandelion leaf supports a different part of the body than the dandelion root does, right?
Yeah.
One is more kidney and one is more liver.
Yeah.
So how would we, I don't know if you can give us a little tutorial on how would we create like a nettle root? Would you do like a infusion or something with it, or how do you actually use nettle root to drink, or how do you do it?
So I have access to a powder that's being prepared already.
Okay.
Know that that's accessible nowadays, just like the leaf is also accessible as freeze dried powder.
Mm-hmm.
So look for the root powder, and I would simply drink it with a bit of water. Maybe add a little bit of lemon juice or some apple juice or something, because it's not an awful taste, but it's not a wonderful flavor either.
Okay.
Yeah, I usually
Okay.
drink lemon.
So it's simply just mixing it together and then just drinking it down. You don't have to boil anything or anything like that. Okay, so the freeze dried root is better. So some of the organic herb companies would probably sell that,
Even as
right?
capsules, I'm pretty sure they exist as capsules as well.
Okay, it's capsules too. All right, this is awesome. All right, fantastic. Are there any other, so besides nettle root, is there any other tonics or herbs that you would recommend?
Yes, there's definitely 3 specifically. Start with the lower, kind of more accessible one, which is Goji Berries. Goji, very, very, very well renowned from traditional Chinese medicine, and they use it for a lot of different things, but specifically for Jing energy, it's very good, again, because it's a deeply, deeply dense nutritional food. And goji berry can be put in tea, so you don't actually have to chew on the berry itself. Put it into a tea, and then it kind of slightly sweetens the tea, but it's also giving you all the nutritional value. You can put it in night oats. You can put it into soups as well. You can use it on cereal.
I put it on top of my shake. So if I make a shake, I'll just, sprinkle it on the top of my shake and have it that way.
Yeah.
And, it's supporting Jing. I mean, the super antioxidant value as well to it. So I love that you included goji berry. I think that's awesome. Okay, so we've got it in tea and our oats. You have a beautiful oat recipe, but you guys will have to check out her website for sure. She's got some gorgeous recipes in there, porridges, and just really nutrient dense food. So I'm sorry to interrupt. Go on. So we've got goji berry.
Good. So then the kind of more traditional Chinese medicine that's being used for centuries for longevity is something called, I'm not sure I pronounced this correctly, but He Shou Wu. So it's He and then new word WOU.
Okay.
Shou Wu. SHE. This is again a root, and the story behind it, I love this, is that there was a man placed in a dungeon underground, and I forget how long he was put there, but he was put there for an extended time, and the prison keeper thought when they came to get him, let's say 30 days later, that he would have not survived. But he had found this root and survived on the root, and his hair had become pitch black, and he looked younger than he was before. Like, so this is a very, very well known cure for Jing and for longevity in general.
Wow. We all want some of that.
Yeah, it contains a lot of zinc, and it's really good for hair growth. So if you have issues with hair loss, or also for men, when they're getting, and really help them, because the energy of your Jing is connected to your head. So if you have a lot of stress in your life, that's why we tend to lose hair. That's because your Jing can't hold on to the root of your hair anymore. And another really helpful one is called prepared Rehmannia root.
And maybe we can, if you send me the names of these, I can put these in the comments after this this talk here. So what was that again? Say it one more time.
It was prepared Rehmannia.
Okay.
It's often used for also rejuvenating your yin. So we know about yin and yang, hot, cold, warm, dark, female, male energies. And sometimes when people are lacking in their male energies, their yin, this is brought in. And the kidney energy is very much about having a yin, you know, slowing down, slower pace, a little bit more moisture is very much about that too. Lubrication, this sort of thing. Rehmannia is really good for that.
I wonder if it's good for joints in general. So not only bone health, but just like joint lubrication and things like that too. So, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. Those are really great, 3 great herbs that we can start to incorporate and foods we can start to incorporate. Is there any other things that you would like to share? And let me just see if there are any questions. I don't know if anybody has. See, a lot of people have joined. I don't see any questions. If anyone has any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. And while Stephanie is here, she could answer them. If we don't have any, is there anything else that you would like to add to this?
Yes. Just to mention that as we age, but also that your Jing energy is affected in terms of things that happen to you in life or things that you go through in life. Like I started today saying, you know, I burned myself out. That's a typical way to kind of draw on your life force and kind of deplete it very quickly. It can happen if you've had an accident or you've had a lot of trauma emotionally, or maybe it's also when you give birth to children, it kind of pulls the bank account of you. And so you need to refill it with slowing down and making space for stillness, gentle exercising, and kind of preserving your energy times. So being more gentle, careful with yourself. But
I love that.
Yeah, and then the things that you will, like signs that you will see where your Jing energy is off or it's weak, is chronic fatigue in your joints, or pain in your lower back, or having when you go gray, your hair goes gray very quickly. You know, some people have been through trauma and then they get gray hair really quick. That's also they're pulling their life force. They're kind of drawing from that bank account and depleting their Jing. And then fertility issues, bladder issues are also connected to this. Your libido is also Jing. So I just wanted to mention that to the people that are maybe interested in how do you see where it shows up that your Jing, you know, depleted.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's always good to understand where else these symptoms could be coming from. And when you're talking about Jing energy, all I could think about was adrenals and how much that they're very much connected, or it's an organ that's definitely involved when you're burnt out. I think adrenal glands. So whether we're supporting adrenal glands or Jing, it's the same thing. Right.
Correct.
And it's the issue for bone health for a lot of women is that when they get the diagnosis, they can be in this place of fear because of that diagnosis. So it's even more important that we address, you know, this type and supporting this type of energy, so that we can calm down, we can rest, so that we can repair and heal. wonderful. And you've given us so much information today. I am so, so grateful to have you here. I don't, okay, I see one. Oh, hey, Keep It Dirty podcast. Any good websites you can recommend to start understanding Chinese medicine?
Sorry, I lost you there.
Okay.
That's okay.
In terms of starting to understand Chinese medicine, and probably just from a basic, you know, standpoint, are there any typical websites that are good to reference?
There are a lot,
Okay.
actually. No specific one that I would say. I'm happy to share it afterwards. There's
Okay.
a couple that but
yeah, after, let's do it. We can do it in the show notes kind of thing.
But also, there's two books that I'd like to share that can be
perfect.
First one is called Between Heaven and Earth, a guide through Chinese medicine.
Okay, I think I have that one. All right.
Yeah, really nice one, and it doesn't feel too complicated, because a lot of them will go into acupuncture, and then it gets a bit too far-fetched for somebody that's not studying medicine.
Okay.
Is Chinese medicine, the web that has no number.
All right, and maybe you'll send me that one too, and then I can put that as well. Thank you. That is awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This was so interesting. I got a lot of information from this. I hope people got the same out of it that I did. I'm sure that they did. Where can we reach you? Where can other people reach you if they would like to work with you or would like to get more information from you? How do we reach you?
So you can follow me here on Instagram as Holistic by Steph, or you can check out my website, which is simply my 𝗵𝗲𝗃𝗀𝗃.com. And I share a lot about traditional Chinese medicine, a lot. So I share resources and tips and recipes and that sort of thing. So here to help in any way I can.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Yeah, maybe we'll do another one where we go even a little bit deeper. This was fantastic, though. Thank you so very much.
It's a pleasure, and I'm so glad you asked me.
Yes.
Thanks, Anne.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Have a good day.
You too.